Erdogan seeks Islamic alliance against Israel, says its expansionism won't stop in Gaza. Okay, so let's go through this here. Turkish President Erdogan urged for an alliance of Islamic countries to counter Israel's expansionism, claiming Israel will not stop in Gaza and could target other nations, saying the turn will come for Lebanon, Syria, and a homeland between the Tigris and Euphrates. He emphasized Hamas resists on behalf of Muslims and is defending Islamic lands. Erdogan made these comments following the reported killing of a Turkish-American woman by Israeli troops during a West Bank protest. Foreign Minister Israel Katz responded, calling Erdogan's claims a dangerous lie and indictment, adding Erdogan continues to throw the Turkish people into the fire of hatred and violence for the sake of his Hamas friends. So this is Erdogan for you, right? They're not sitting there saying, hey, Israel, let's have an alliance. They're not sitting there. You think Erdogan is waking up in the morning wanting to find ways to help support Israel more? I don't think so. Adam, what are your thoughts on Erdogan's story here?
Well, I did remember that part of the interview yesterday with Douglas Murray. It did get a little weird. It did get a little awkward. So I'll say a few things. Number one, let's address the whole Israel expansionism and the Islamic world uniting against Israel. Just, and be completely unbiased if you possibly can. Rob, do me one favor. Just pull up map of the Middle East and maybe Google Muslim countries, Middle East, Arab countries, Middle East. Just speaking of expansionism, and just go to images. So yeah, just any good old map of the Middle East, anywhere. Okay, so that's one. So those are, and there's more. I'm sure you can find more because there's North Africa. You do better, Rob. Come on, give me something better to work with here. Those are just, there we go. Now we're talking about, that's the Muslim world. You want to talk expansionism. They're doing great. The Arab nations in the world, all the brown area, that's Muslim expansionism. Now, if you go all the way in, and if you just scroll all the way in, you can maybe locate where Israel is on this map. So the whole context that Israel expansionism is expanding, look in the mirror, Mr. Erdogan. This revisionist, ridiculous interpretation of history is absolutely absurd from Erdogan, who is a full-on Islamist, hardliner, strongman who many say faked his own coup 5 or so years ago, pre-COVID, to basically double down on his grasp and stranglehold on the country of Turkey. So regarding what happened with the Armenian Genocide, let's sort of go down sequencing here. United States, Joe Biden, I believe, was the first president in American history to acknowledge the Armenian Genocide. Is that right, Pat?
It is, yes.
Okay, so at least
we
Biden,
talked about that yesterday.
You did do that. But you know who has not acknowledged the Armenian Genocide? Well, the genociders themselves, the Ottoman Empire of Turkey. So that's where this thing should start. Now, you bring up the fact...
What do you mean by that?
That's where, Turkey has not acknowledged the fact that
But I totally understand if Turkey doesn't acknowledge it. Like, if there's anybody that if they don't acknowledge it is Turkey, I get it. Because they would have to revise all their history books of the way they taught their kids about Armenians. They can't do that. You're talking about 110 years of history books that would need to change.
Well, I understand that. Yeah. But that just because Turkey may have to rewrite their history books doesn't eliminate the fact that it did happen and is in history.
No, for sure.
So they can write whatever nonsense they want to write. I agree. Just like how in Russia under Nicholas Tsar.
I'm purely talking about where his ideology lies and what his religion is. For him to do that, his people are like, what are you doing?
Yes. And a lot of his ideology is basically funded on sort of the Muslim Brotherhood ideology, which is Sharia law and taking over large swaths of the Middle East and implementing that. Now, as far as Israel goes, I'm not Israeli, I'm American, Jewish. I would say that it would be amazingly appropriate for Israel to have the conversation of acknowledging the Armenian genocide. If anybody knows a thing or two about genocide, the Jews are kind of leading the league in that. 6 million Jews killed during the Holocaust. I actually looked into this, Pat, because this is something we came up. Apparently, this has been an ongoing conversation in the Knesset in Israel, where, Republicans and Democrats, they're not going to agree on everything. That's like saying, hey, what do Americans think about abortion? Well, depends on what Americans think about Medicare. Medicare for all, private payer, depends on which Americans. Apparently there's an ongoing debate in Israeli parliament, the Knesset, where people do want to acknowledge the Armenian genocide and they understand the need to do it. And then there's other people who are sort of practicing dealing with the necessary relationship, monetary, economic, military relationship with Turkey. And they're basically saying, what is the benefit of doing this? I agree.
You want me to tell you why I have a hard time with that?
Go ahead.
Okay.
But in my opinion, last point, Israel is probably seeing what Turkey is doing and Erdogan is doing.
Yeah.
And in my humble opinion, they now have an ace up their sleeve. They're saying, hey, listen, all right, Turkey, you want to play that game? What about this?
Yeah.
Armenian genocide.
I think they have to do that very soon.
I agree.
Because if there's any, and by the way, to me, the first country that needed to recognize it was them. I think if there's anybody that understands what they do,
the people that did it,
the community is you understand the pain and the suffering Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks went through. What do you mean you don't want to recognize it? And it was done by who? Ottoman, Turks. So now the stories behind closed doors, I know the stories. I know how certain people were like, well, we'll help you out. We'll get out the way, whatever. Yeah. All that stuff, the way history's been written. But Christians do a lot for Jews. Mm-hmm. Christians do a lot for Israel. Armenians are like OG Christians. Armenians, Assyrians, go to the Bible and look, study about the Assyrians.
First 10 pages.
Yeah, it's not like so to me, that is again, I'm not trying to steer the pot here. All I'm saying is, bro, 34 countries, you're not one of them. Make the announcement.
Well,
make the announcement. I'd like to see them make that announcement by the end of the year and get that knocked out of the way, because this is it's a bit of an insult when you don't do that to one community who's experienced this. In 1915, it's time.
Can I respond real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm fully on board with you. From a moral standpoint, from a conviction standpoint, again, the United States just recognized it like 2 years ago. What took the United States, the moral compass and the number one country in the world, so goes the United States? Who did Douglas Murray says by far the most important country in the world is? The United States.
And then he said
so
UK,
what took us so long? Yeah. What took the United States so long to recognize us, calling a genocide?
No, but by the way, that one I understand. Believe it or not, that one I understand. Do you know why that one I understand?
Because we were not a part of it, maybe?
No, that one I understand because Turkey's the largest military in the Middle East, and you have to find a way to keep a decent relationship with them. And it's kind of like, look, guys, hey, it's like picking. I'm doing business with both of you guys. Yes. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm not neighbors to Armenia. I'm not neighbors to Turkey. Hey. You're a customer. It's kind of pump the brakes like this, right? And a part of it is Russia usually defends who? Who does Russia usually defend?
Turkey, you're saying?
Russia usually defends Armenia. Turkey usually defends who? Azerbaijan. They support the military. So the reason why Armenia still exists, even though they lost Nagorno-Karabakh, the whole feud
everything
that we
that's
had.
Going on now,
It's because Turkey doesn't want to fully do what they want to do, or Azerbaijan, because they know Putin's on the other side. If Russia and Putin's not on the other side, Armenia is gone, by the way, if that wasn't the case. But in this scenario, Israel is different than
Pat,
US.
I'm with you.
I know.
And let me say one last thing. What I find a little ironic, this is sort of infusing a little bit thing. What's the number one show in the world, number one platform in the world with the word Turk in it?
Young Turks.
The Young Turks. That's who founded that. Cenk. I find it very interesting, and we've had Cenk on the podcast. I actually like Cenk personally.
That. He's addressed that's
sort
a mistake
but he's
on
never
his
changed the name. We see people changing names.
I asked him about it.
So he's been out there going, it's a genocide. It's a genocide. Israel, Palestine. Did you not see the 1.5 million Armenians that died, the Assyrians that died, the Greeks that died?
And you made
So Cenk loses a little moral authority, just like Erdogan in this matter.
And Pat, you mentioned,
no disrespect
and you mentioned
to
it, Pat,
Cenk.
you're half Armenian, half Assyrian. So you've gone through both sides of double genocides. From the Armenian side, and you mentioned the Assyrian, the Ottoman Empire, and the Kurdish militias. Pat, there's only, 3 million of us? They killed almost 300,000 Assyrians. 300,000.
The Ottomans did.
Ottomans with the Kurdish militias. And it's like,
But the Kurds were a part of it?
The Kurdish militia too, but between 1914 and 1920, bro.
So the Kurds were also doing that, and now Turkey has basically claimed that the Kurds are a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
It's so weird what's going on in the Middle East. Everyone is the enemy, and my enemy is my friend. There's all this going on. It's crazy out there.
Tom, I know you have a lot to say. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I go back to the core story here is what Erdogan was saying about.
You said earlier you had strong opinions on this.
Tom's like, you give me 20 minutes.
Actually, I do. And I think he's making a political statement here and he's stirring the pot because he's like, Israel will not stop in Gaza. Wait a minute. Who attacked who?
Yeah.
The history is Israel starting 1967, 1973, October of 2023. How many times have the alliance of Islamic countries has been doing pretty good, staying together with one unified thing, which is when the opportunity comes up, we attack Israel. And now him coming out, it's almost like that political thing they say in the United States: accuse your opponent of what you're doing and get out ahead of your own investigation.
Yes.
Right? And that's what this feels like.
And that's exactly what he's doing. By the way, if I'm him, straight up, if I'm Erdogan, I'm doing this exact same thing. It's the whole, don't look over here.
Don't let that be your hero, by the way.
That's not, it won't be.
From. I'm just
hey,
saying
don't worry about what we're doing in Turkey. Don't worry about the 500,000 dead people in Syria. Don't worry about that. Let's focus on Gaza for a second.
It's such a weird place. I mean, if you drew all the lines and connected everything, you have this weird thing. It's like you're talking about the Kurds. Saddam Hussein was very upset with the Kurds. He was trying to...
Chemical weapons, I believe.
Yeah, he was trying to direct chemicals on them because they were going to help these guys, and things go back and forth. And then you have a Turkish, reporter who gets carved up by, people from another Muslim country, and it's like it goes back and forth. And
so, Tom,
Charlotte's
I'm glad
Web.
You had a lot to say, and I'm glad you did that.
Tom.
By the way, one thing, we want to take the podcast on the road to a lot of different cities. We're right now talking to a couple different organizations that want to take us to the battleground states to go do podcasts there in some crazy cities like Dearborn. We're going to some weird places.
Oh, wow.
Would you like us to come to a city near you to do a podcast? And if yes, maybe comment in the comment section. Let us know on Twitter what that city is. And maybe if more and more people are asking us, we're making the list right now that in the month of October, we may be going on the road, to come to a city near you. I don't know if we're going to go to the battleground of Istanbul, but we're definitely considering different locations.
But we will visit
state.
the Alliance of Battleground States.
Yes.
Listen, we get a lot of messages that, hey, how do you guys get your stories? Everything you've been doing. Eventually, I decided to invest a lot of money into it, hired 15 machine learning guys to make a new site available to you guys. We wanted to build it for us, but we're making it public to everybody. It's a freemium. Then there's two different paid aspects to it called vtnews.ai. I'm going to play a commercial for you. This is the first time you're seeing a commercial to understand what this is all about. This is an aggregated site where you need to only visit one news site that feeds everything in from others. No bias. We're not writing the articles. Other people are writing it, and you get to read the article and say, this is a left source, this is a right source, this is center. Rob, play this clip. Go for it.
There are currently 8.2 billion people on Earth. 6.9 billion use their smartphones to read an astonishing 2 million news articles every day. Before you read another news article, it's important to understand how news outlets make money. Change, conflict, controversy. In other words, the angrier you get, the more money they make. So how do you get your peace of mind back when every outlet has their own motive?
The media leaving out the full context of what Trump was saying, instead pumping out these types of headlines.
Left-leaning, right-leaning. Who can you trust? Introducing vtnews.ai, an innovative news source that uses AI and machine learning to deliver a more human understanding of what's going on. There's more than one side to every story. Who's covering it? What are their agendas? Why is one side reporting a story when the other side is ignoring it? VT News shows them all. Access to 130,000 news sources. Most advanced AI in news. Ability to chat with VT AI. Bias meter showing the number of left, right and center sources. Lopsided stories are clearly identified. News timelines covering the lifespan of the story and predictions. Bring the pursuit of truth to your fingertips. Visit vtnews.ai, your only destination for news.
We are so excited about this. We are so excited about this that finally this product is here that we can release to you. We shared this at the Vol conference. The reception was absolutely insane. For those of you guys that run podcasts or you're busy like me, you're somebody that's an executive businessman, you're running around, you got a lot of things going on. You don't have time for a lot of things. You just kind of want to see the motives and the bias on the stories. Go become a member. There's 3 tiers. The freemium, you got the 2nd tier and a 3rd tier that gives you unlimited amount of questions and customization for your own news, including local. Mess around with it. Go to vtnews.ai. We got a lot of big plans with this year because it's another one of those businesses that feeds into what we're doing. Again, go to vtnews.ai, become a member, take advantage of the freemium or anything else that it offers for you. And we're excited about other things that's coming in the future with this.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.